Z. And we are live! Hello, everybody, and welcome to Geekscape's probably first of many happy hours!
Yay! Relive the best and worst of 2020!
Oh, let's not do that show.
Sorry.
No, you're good, though, but is anybody drinking anything this evening?
Yes. I've got, oh gosh, my partner is just now coming home.
Hi, Nico. Hi, Charlie.
Hi, babe. I am not drinking anything.
Ooh.
Why is he live? We're live streaming.
We're doing it live.
They were like, boo. But anyways, I've got peach, zero sugar, apple tea, and that's
Nice.
it.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
so good though. I'm kind of become obsessed
Along
with
those
it.
lines, I'm also drinking a brisk iced tea from the can. In a Howell's City of Books pint glass.
Love that.
And it was either going to be this one or my Kamala Harris rainbow pantsuit mug.
That is oh no, it buzzed it.
Yeah, but this was formerly of the Biden campaign Pride merch they had, where they basically made all the different flags but out of her pantsuits. And I was like, this is camp and kitsch, and I will have this
all day.
It's like the Queen. Didn't they do one of those with the Queen? And isn't there one with like Hillary Clinton too? For some reason, I feel like I saw some neoliberals share that. Sorry, we're not getting political. We are getting drunk, not political.
Yes. What are you drinking, Joshua, out of your, Kraken promotional mug?
No. This is a. I think this came with like a whiskey kit of some sort for like old fashions. But I made a triple berry margarita, so I made some triple berry syrup and mix in some tequila. There we go. Boom.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah. Am I coming through okay? I'm very like glitchy on my side, but I'm just going with it.
I mean, there is a delay between our world and the spirit world. So, we're I don't know what plane of existence you're broadcasting to us from, but that's probably that one.
Okay, so there is a delay.
It's a little bit of a delay, but it's also like it's just like a little laggy is all.
Okay.
But
all right.
Apart from that,
I might try to fix that.
Okay. But, do you think?
Yeah,
Katie, what are you drinking?
I personally, so I'm not like drinking all that much alcohol lately because I'm on a shred. How well can I be? But I put ginger juice. I got like the Good People raw, just like ginger juice in the bottom. And then I filled it up with a nice lime LaCroix. And then there might be some other substance in there that is not alcohol that might get me a little loose. So
wonderful.
That's what's in there. It's cucumber and ginger and lime. So it's pretty refreshing.
Nice. At work, we call LaCroix and subsequent like adjacent types of drinks. We call that lesbian water. I should preface this by saying that I do work at a queer nonprofit, so that is mostly in our staff is mostly lesbians and non-binary people. So
did you see me almost spit?
I know. I'm sorry.
Like the bubbles got like right up in there too. Oh my god. Okay, so yeah, please explain.
Yeah, so I work at a queer nonprofit, and it's most of my coworkers are like like cis women or non-binary folks, and it is very I nearly also spit out my drink when they told me like, yeah, we just call it lesbian water, and I was like, is there a reason why? Because like gay guy water is a vodka soda.
Is that a thing?
Okay, I hear that. That's true.
Right? Joshua, do you agree gay water is a vodka soda?
Yes.
I mean, it's not our gay water.
That seems
with a hint of lime.
Yeah, splash of lime. Just a little splash. So much so that like some like Gen Z influencer person created like a canned drink cocktail brand called Gay Water that is literally just vodka and soda,
Oh
which I
God,
was
I gotta
like,
look this
damn
up.
you.
Oh, do you guys remember Go-Go Juice by any chance? Go-Go Juice
No.
was a concoction created by Honey Boo Boo, the child
Uh,
star,
Whose
who
college money was stolen by her mother? Yes. I
yes.
remember.
what?
Yeah, that
Mama
was a whole
June stole Honey
problem.
Boo Boo's college money?
Oh, of
Yes.
course she did. I mean, who didn't think that it was going to be like a Culkin situation?
Oh no.
But apparently, she would mix Mountain Dew and Red Bull. And when I was in my 20s, Mountain
Wow.
Dew and sugar-free Red Bull was like my jam right before a show. Oh my gosh,
Oh
that
my gosh.
pure adrenaline.
Sounds like
Yeah.
a heart attack in a bottle.
It
That
was.
sounds like Brondo. Like
Wait,
that
what's
just
Brondo?
Brondo, Idiocracy. Did anyone watch
Yeah,
Idiocracy?
It's been a while.
It's the drink that like they water the crops with.
That's
'cause
right. And they can't
corporations
figure
control
out
everything.
why the crops
can't-
keep dying.
Yeah. Brondo, it's what plants crave. It's got electrolytes. It's got what plants crave.
Oh, that's
Uh,
right. Amazing.
Oh, idiot. I gotta watch that again.
It's been a
We're
minute.
living in the real life version as it is.
You know, speaking of which, how's everybody's week been going?
Great, it's almost done. I'm happy to be working, but also excited for the weekend, even though I am working my other job. But it's a long weekend, so it won't be too bad.
Are you doing the senior center this weekend?
No, I'm house managing for the museum I work at because it's a wedding, and so I still take a couple shifts here and there. Even though today is my 1 month anniversary at the new job, so I'm very, very, very happy. I made it a month, and I still don't mind being there. So that's a good sign.
That's a huge, huge sign. Oh, I'm so freaking happy. That's so cool.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah,
that's so good. Oh my god, I can't believe it's been a month because I remember you were starting that job like shortly after we first met.
Like a day after Comic-Con.
Yeah. No, it's went by fast.
Wow. Let's see. My week is going by really quickly. I can't believe that September is literally a couple days away.
I know.
It's why August blew by.
Blinked. It was done.
Yeah, and I'm excited more for September just because next week I am going to Vegas for a few days for a weekend. So I'm excited for that. And
what are you doing in Vegas? You're good. Welcome back, Joshua.
Welcome back, Joshua.
Okay, good. Well, I came back at a good time. So
yes.
Let's get
what am I doing in
Joe
Vegas?
is doing in Vegas.
So I'm attending a gay event. And to preface this, like, yes, I work at a queer nonprofit, but like I don't really go to like gay events, other than the ones that are like required for my job. And so the interesting thing about this is that this is when I started the year, I was like, oh, my New Year's resolution, I want to go to like a gay party for like bears and the guys who like bears and stuff. I don't know why I did this hand gesture when I did that, but
well, that's clearly the bear gesture.
It's the bear party gesture. So I went to my first one in Palm Springs at the end of June, which I loved. I went by myself. I knew some people that were going, but generally I kept to my own schedule. It was lovely to get away for a few days. Stayed at a really great Airbnb out there. And I was like, I liked it so much. I was like, you know what? Let me go to the desert again to be surrounded by bears and their ilk. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. So I'm excited.
I love it.
Yeah, I also love I do enjoy Vegas. I I love like a pool situation. I love, being in air conditioning, and there's a lot of that in Vegas.
Yes.
They're not
I
afraid
love
of
that.
it.
No, it's nice, and especially like this time of year in Vegas, it's going to be perfect for a poolside time.
Yes, very excited. I have my giant hat. I have my, my fancy sunscreens and creams, because I used to work at a spa. So I'm like, I have Kula. Anyone want Kula?
Ooh, what is Kula?
It's a mineral sunscreen that like you can't really feel, and they specialize in like facial sunscreen. So at the spa that I worked at, after every service, because we were also a beachside resort, they would put a little SPF on you, because they were like, okay, you have to stay out of the sun for like a few hours, but they knew people were still going to go in the sun anyway. Like, because they're at the beach and we have a pool that overlooks the ocean, and so they would just put sunscreen, but like it's also like good for you. Like it's
Okay.
I don't know.
Hydrating. It's
hydrating. It releases the toxins. That's why it's my like. It releases the toxin. It has antioxidants to battle free radicals and releases the toxins. I don't know if it did any of that. I just know that I just like it because it doesn't feel greasy, and that's literally what I love about it.
Yeah.
Kula.
Yeah.
Joshua, we are talking about our weeks, how our weeks are going.
I know. I love listening to you because you're going to be like living your very best life next weekend. I'm jealous, kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't know. I'm planning
Well,
to go
I guess my
pretty
point is you're just
feral,
gonna be
and I don't
living.
know if that's my best life.
Yeah, but you're going to be living, and I'm going to be at a death festival. So
What?
it's very us,
Yes.
What?
I'm doing like,
You're doing
Hoteria
doing life, and
Frottuccine,
I'm doing
and you're doing the death thing. Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to the Memento Mori Festival in Los Angeles. So it's going to be hosted by the Morbid Anatomy Museum, Joanna Epstein. She's written several books that I have. She wrote a new book called Memento Mori. And it's all about, it's like 12 weeks of like intense death work, grief work. I get self-eulogy. I don't know, all kinds of things. And they're going to have a bunch of speakers, and there's a big dance macabre party. And then there's going to be a private tour of the Getty from like a macabre lens, and this architectural tour. I don't know. It's going to be super fun. But I don't know, Joe, you might be dying in the sun in Vegas. So who knows? Maybe we'll have a similar experience.
Yeah, well, you'll learn how to properly honor me if I do die in Vegas. So this will be great.
Yeah, so I'm fascinated by this like morbidity thing. Like what exactly is it? Like it's not is it a therapy thing? Is it just like what is it?
I mean, for me, partially, yeah. I'm hoping to get some information. That's my big news this week, is that my master's conferred, everything's done. I'm like, yay!
Congrats!
Yes, very excited.
Yay.
And I want to specialize in grief and that kind of stuff. So it says the book is called Memento Mori: Contemplating Death to Live a Better Life, which is part of my philosophy. Part of my like personal thing is like, I know I'm kind of morbid and kind of into like that, but it's because I know I'm going to die. So I try to be fabulous in myself and have a great time because it ends. So it's a way to like kind of grasp it. So, but yeah, there's going to be a symposium. They have a whole bunch of different people talking. I'm trying to find the list. All kinds of different things, just stuff about lots of things about death. There's a stage 4 cancer in my Night Sea journey to wellness from PhD Amy Slonaker, Memento Mori of teeth, musings on dead birds, death in the permafrost, Arctic memento moris, and the age of climate change.
Okay, Josh, I gotta know, because my favorite thing was that I sent out an email earlier this week that was like, "Hey, send me a photo that you really love of yourself." Joe and Marie just forgot because they're very busy, and Joshua
I
said,
never respond to emails.
"You really don't. You really don't." I don't even know why I tried.
I keep sending Joe articles, like academic articles, to read about horror films.
Sure.
Keep
Keep on sending them. I'll read them one day.
He's like, sure.
But what, Joshua, you sent me a photo with you and a skull, and it's fabulous. I love that photo, which we used in the promo, and I just ended up taking the photo that we took at Comic-Con for Joe Marie and I.
That was sweet, though. I wish I had been part of that photograph. So
I know. I wish you had too. But you know what? Next year we're gonna go to her universe, all four of us together.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's actually a great story behind that like photo shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of the gay, like, you know, I often try to get Joshua to engage in, you know, faggotry, you know, hoteria, frotocine, whatever, you know, language you want to say.
Okay.
And we should rate this R. This thing.
This stream, yes.
This stream needs to be rated R. But
just
we went
listener,
to...
if you want to comment in the comments, go ahead. We will read them out loud. But this is very gay friendly. So
yes, exactly. And the one thing about that I love about Joshua is like, yeah, sure, that looks fun. And so we went to Tom's 1 hour photo in Koreatown.
Yes.
Are you familiar with Tom's 1 hour photo?
No, it just sounds as kitsch and lovely as it seems.
It is exactly that. So Tom's 1
You
hour
all need
photo.
to go and do like.
Wait, Hannah has gone. I believe Hannah.
Oh, of course she has. Okay, that's probably where I have heard of it. Okay.
So you definitely need to go because the thing that I love about Tom's 1 hour photo is that like it has not. I mean, I don't know. We haven't been there since we took our pictures, but it has not really changed since I think he opened. And it is a like 90s throwback, 90s early aughts throwback kind of glamour shot like studio where they had like all the backgrounds he painted himself. And you can get like, you know, the stars and the lasers. And it's like with that filter. If you go to their Instagram, you can see people putting stuff up there, but you can also see like they put, in order to make a reservation, you have to call them. Like they're very low, like call us. We don't do anything on the computer. Everything's in our book.
So it's like all 90s, like intake theme too.
Oh girl, we had to bring our own USB. And he put the photos on the USB, but he is running Windows XP, girl. Like, yeah, which like is no shade because like, hey, if it works for you, it works for you. And like the photos were really fun. And we went to do like promo photos for our podcast. And this was also part of like my journey of like reclaiming things that like I did with my ex. So like, I did a photo shoot similar to this with my ex as well. And it was very like, you know, I wanted like looking off into the distance and like looking up, and he made us do really weird things. Like he was just like, all right, you stand here like this and you stand here like this. And we made like a heart, and Joshua and he's like, okay, no smile with no teeth. All right. Smile with teeth now. All right. He just gave me like, I started calling him uncle because he's like an older Vietnamese man. And I was just like, I feel like uncle will be received in the way that I would received well.
Yeah, because it's like it's an honoring, almost term endearment type of thing.
Exactly. Right? And he got famous because in like 2019, Casey Musgraves came and did a photo shoot there and like did like a little thing about how like, you know, her parents are small business owners. He was already struggling. They almost had to close the shop. And so then she blew him up on social media with her picture. And then like LA Times started writing about him. And then all of a sudden, all these like like Gen Alpha influencery people started following him after like the wave of millennial people. And then it just became a whole thing. So like he actually, that year that we did our photos, a few months later, he was hired to do like, I don't know what they call it, but it was basically like the API party for Netflix for all of their like people who do API stuff.
Great.
And so he was there like taking pictures of like, you know, Simu Liu and Ronnie Chang and doing the throwback, like, you know, hands and the like pillar.
Yes, the prom pose. Yes.
Exactly. I wanted to do like what I kept calling like, you know, Chola gang pictures where it's like we're all like white tops and blue jeans and then like, you know, like
lean
this.
back. Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up in
Yeah.
Arizona. I know it.
Yeah, I don't know if this. I was trying to find the photos. I was trying to share just so you could see.
Can you
but
present it,
I
Joshua?
think I can't. Yeah, let's
see.
see if we can.
So yeah, you can kind of see this.
Yeah.
With these backgrounds, and so we have a whole bunch of photos like this where it's just ridiculous.
I'm
Like,
Joshua brought
so
props
happy.
as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so happy.
Hilarious.
This is fantastic.
So you all have to do. You all have to do the same. Like you have to
Yes.
get a photo shoot. with
Next
it,
time you
'cause
come
it's
down
bro.
here, Marie, put it in the book in the things to do.
I got it. Yeah, that'll be so fun.
We have a picture of us like making a heart together. We have like pictures like of like Joe seated and I'm standing behind him with like different backgrounds that like rolled down. You know, he like pulled them down and they were like hand painted. It was amazing. He has props, roses, all kinds of different. Hold this, hold that. Here's a pillar. Very like senior pictures. 98.
Oh my
He also
God.
did like he was kind of funny because you could tell he'd been doing this for a long time because he would just like reach out and like move my head like, okay, down.
Like,
no consent. That is one thing I will say. He just kind of like move like that, move like that,
yeah,
turn like that, turn like that,
like turn like that, move like this.
Well, I mean, hey, at least he knows what angles to get from you.
True. And again, like we also weren't like, I wonder, we present as male, so I wonder if it's different when girls are there. Like that's the other thing. Point. So
yeah,
yeah. Oh yeah, we're gonna have to go to that. I feel like that's gonna be like my
that'll be
Comic-Con thing next year. Is like, oh, forget the activations. I really need to go get these photos taken.
Seriously, though, actually, if you get
in LA.
Yeah, we can just run up there and do it. Let's all
let's do that. Oh yeah, let's plan a weekend or something like that.
I would love that.
I'm here for it. Totally.
Yeah. I need it. Fantastic.
And listen, it's just a short train ride or a short drive ride, whichever you want. It's great.
There we go. Sorry, I was having all these issues and fiddling about, so I don't know who has actually talked about. It's like a chunk.
Well, Marie is still happy at her job, which is fantastic, and Joe is excited about Vegas. I've had a pretty great week as well. I am on hiatus now. I have been improving. Yes, I have been improving. I'm with a new group called Faux Pas, which I'm very excited about. We might see some sketches of theirs in the holiday times. So stay tuned for that. They're friends. But we've been creating our own form, which has been really interesting and cool. Because so many of the places out here, like you have to do something very specific at like specific times, and everything is like super trained. I don't know how much improv y'all know about, but
so you're creating, so like not Herald, it's something else, right?
No, it's not the Herald. It's like we kind of have our own take on it, but it's basically we ask for an embarrassing story. And then we do different kind of recreations around it to either make it worse or better. And then we just take like different details from the stories that we hear and blow them up, blow them out. Yeah, it's been really fun, and we've been getting really good feedback. So it's been exciting, and I don't know. I feel like we're also playing with what kind of style we're doing each time when we do it, and it's been really interesting to see. And I don't know, trust a team to kind of like go with the flow of it. But yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. But really sorry, cool. You started to say you're on hiatus from.
Oh, The Amazing Race. I work in post-production at The Amazing Race. And I never know what to do with myself during this time, because usually like TV in Hollywood, it's really quiet this year because post-strikes, current strikes, and a lot of stuff going on. Probably won't pick up until 2025, but there's also been a huge downgrade to even reality TV, and like just things aren't shooting right now, mostly because there's like a lot of issues with Teamsters, and there's a lot of contract negotiations going on, so you're probably not seeing a lot of original content at the moment, but hopefully after next year won't be so bad.
And that's also, so you're saying that that's also affecting reality stuff, not just narrative content.
Yeah. It's, I mean, a lot of stuff is actually moving over to the UK at the moment, which is interesting because they're, I know it's odd. So that's why, I don't know if you've heard or care or know, but that's why there is the rumor that season 4 Ted Lasso is coming back. And that's why we've confirmed, or they have confirmed, British actors for the show coming back for season 4. So Hannah Waddingham, I always say Roy Kent, but I can't remember his actual actor name.
Brett
And
Goldstein?
yeah.
Was that his name?
Yes.
It's like the opposite of what his character name is. And I'm not a Ted Lasso fan, but I know his name because
yeah.
That's so fascinating because I feel like the strikes are what kind of birthed reality television to some degree. I mean,
the first writers, well, I mean, not the first
some would say,
strike, but
like
the
Truth
one
or
that was
Dare,
like, yeah.
Madonna birthed reality television. No, I'm kidding. But
game shows are still going pretty well. So I mean,
true,
you at least have that.
Yeah.
But those are usually non-union runs, so that's usually the reason why. But even back in the original, or 8 years ago, writer's strike, that is when reality TV took a boom because no one knew what was going on, what to do, how to proceed. So they just fully invested into reality TV. And that's where you got a whole bunch. That's where you got Honey Boo Boo with your Mountain Dew
now it's
Red
so
Bull.
Scripted that I guess it's...
I mean, luckily Amazing Race is not scripted. So it's, the stuff you see on there that is what they filmed.
And it was a great season.
Or or something where, that makes sense.
Last season was a good season.
It was a really good season. First time I ever really watched The Amazing Race. And that's mainly because my sister got me into it.
Oh, really?
And I really want her to be on it. Because I think I keep thinking like, oh my God, if it was you and our other friend, like, I was like, you two just yourselves would be good television. So, and I know how they're. See, that's the thing is, I was like, I could produce you.
Yes, produce their audition tape.
Yes,
you never know.
Always ready for that.
But whatever you do, you don't know me, okay? Because that's not going to give you better chances to get on the show.
Well, that's the thing is like I wouldn't be doing it. I
know.
Yeah, they will do it.
Exactly. No, but this coming season is actually going to be very, very good, and I'm excited for it for several different reasons. But I highly recommend tuning in for the next season, which I don't think comes out till maybe March 2025. But yeah. But apart from that, like, I'm just filling my time with working out, trying to eat healthy,
getting that shred on.
I'm getting my shred on. I hate it because all I want is pizza all day long. I mean,
and you're gonna die anyways. No.
I know, right? That's the thing.
Sorry, that's my favorite thing to say when I'm in class. I was at the gym for 2 hours this morning. And I'm like, you're gonna die.
Anyway, yeah. I'd like to prolong it personally. I'd like to lift.
It's just horrible. It's because I don't want to do that. So it's just no.
I get it. I totally get it.
I don't want to walk around.
I found some other of the pictures. Can I show you one of my favorites?
Oh gosh.
Hold on, let me.
Are you able to?
These are going to be unscreened, so who knows what he's going to show.
Can't wait. I cannot wait.
Hold on.
I hope it's mostly lasers or cats or. Did you guys ever have like the paint bucket one? Oh yes.
This is no teeth.
There we go.
And then we were asked to show teeth.
I don't think we shared like any of these online.
No, but I want to say that my favorite.
You're doing it now.
My absolute favorite one is of Joshua. This is my favorite one of Joshua.
What the?
Look at you, you sweet little baby.
It's just so beautiful. Like, it's like you look so happy.
Yeah,
I miss those nails. Actually, I need to redo my nails.
You do them.
Yeah.
They look great. They look really good.
So there you go. Tom's 1 hour photo, everybody. They don't sponsor us.
They
but
don't,
We
but
could.
they should.
But you
Yeah.
could, Tom. You totally could. So I was going to ask you, Joshua, where did the fascination or interest in macabre come from for you?
Since I was young, that's the only thing my family it's our only heirloom. It's like horror and the macabre. You know, my mother had a very dark sense of humor. My grandmother as well was fairly dark, just in the sense of her, you know, religious beliefs. She was from Appalachia, and so, you know, a lot of like haints and hoodoo kind of stuff. So, you know, we just were very Adam's family, kind of, in a way. So I've just always been come by it very naturally.
Okay.
Yeah. And then just over time, yeah, it's I also think, and I tell like kind of the more, I guess, cerebral in a way answer is like, you know, I was a queer kid, and, you know, kids like call you a fag and they call, you know, and it's like being kind of spooky, kooky, we're all black, like you kind of, I could control that, you know. And so it was kind of very empowering to kind of be the spooky kid, you know, kind of in a way. And then like The Craft came out, and that gave us like, you know, We Are the Weirdos, Mr. and Elvira, and, you know, all these like awesome people that I liked like as a kid growing up, that I'm like, I want to be them. Like, she's in a small town being 100% herself, not giving 2 fucks. And it really helped me survive in a way too, just kind of embracing that. So here we
love
are.
that.
Then what became your obsession to force Joe into the macabre and the horror?
Just with the, you know, I thought it was kind of horrifying. He's like, oh, I'm like a film fan, you know, and so, and I think he, you know, there was kind of, I don't know, Joe, you could probably speak a little bit more to it, but it kind of feels like, you know, there's a lot of dismissiveness of horror. I'm like, horror, like as an art form, is incredible, and like as a film person, like, you know, like how can we give you an education in why the horror film is important, you know? And then that's kind of where Fright School was birthed, and you know, kind of fun to take. And like when I first met Joe, he was just this sweet, hello, I do see you, my child.
I know, I've been wanting to acknowledge your cats
like,
for so long.
She's just like, you know, because, you know, I'm very gesticular. So she's like, you might as well put those hands to use. But when I met Joe, he was just such a sweet, like, kid, such a sweet child.
Sweet summer
like,
child.
Let's drive him mad.
Yeah.
And how's that been going for you, Joe?
Well, I'm definitely mad. No, it's been great. Like, it's so funny because like Joshua used to host, still does, but it was a different, it took a different form in the early days where he would host these like weekly watches of American Horror Story.
Okay.
And I watched the first 2 seasons solo. And the 3rd season is my favorite season, point blank. And part of that is also because I started going with a group to watch it.
Oh, okay.
And the group is numbers. Exactly. And the group was like watching it with Joshua, and like people, the cool thing about like Joshua's watch parties is that they actually watch. Well, we don't start on time, so that way we can fast forward through commercials. And then we
do not try to sell me things.
Yeah, exactly. Don't tell me anything. And then we watch it, and then during the like fast forwarding the commercials, that's when the little talking happens. But there rarely is any like talking or, you know, roasting or, you know, anything like that during the watch. So it's nice to like be able to focus and, you know, absorb things.
Yeah.
And Horror Story, especially Coven, was just like campy as all get out. Like, it was nice to be with people who were also not scared of it in the same way that I was. Like, maybe it was sitting with me a little too much. And then we did that up until what, like 1984, right, Joshua?
Yeah, I think 1984 we lost people. You know, I mean, it's gone downhill, so it's not as fun as it used to be.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Like, what changed about it? Not as campy, not as fun. Like, does it stray away from the horror genre? Like, I've
I
never
started to
been.
do that. I just think it kind of people burn down on it. Maybe
Okay.
I think it's gone on a little too long.
Yeah.
Kind of grasping for stuff because those first few seasons did a really good job of, and that was kind of the thing. Is like it's kind of taking American horror and putting it through a really specific lens, and giving us these really good callbacks to things, and angles and music, and and I feel like maybe it's kind of lost some of that along the way. I think losing Jessica, losing Sarah Paulson, losing some of the people that brought it a little bit of weight, and they've come in and out like over the years. But yeah, I don't know. I can't really explain it. Some of it's just like, I didn't even finish Delicate yet, the last season. And Kim Kardashian turned out to be like one of the best things about it, which was kind of like worrisome.
That's
like I watched it, I'm
interesting.
like, actually, she's kind of doing the best job here. And I don't know what that
Really?
We're an American Horror Story obsessed house, so I was deeply let down by that season. Actually, the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
What was it for you?
Well, it was so for this season. I don't know. I just felt like I was bored. Really with the story. I didn't. It's almost like I knew. I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but I kind of knew who the bad guy was in the beginning because it was just like,
was it so obvious?
Yeah. Well,
Obvious.
it was formulaic, I would say. And I was like, okay, this is who's going to be revealed. Like there were twists and turns, but not as good as some of his other stuff. Like I just think he can do so much better.
Well, that's the thing, right? He's doing stuff with other places too. So American Horror Story has taken a real back seat, I think, as well. And that really
definitely.
shocks.
And then if everything became an American story, American crime story, we got sports story coming up. We got all kind of story that he's telling.
Yeah.
Okay.
But sorry, Marie, go ahead, finish what you're saying.
No. I will say, even though it was kind of like weird, I really liked his gay season. Really.
The New York season.
NYC, yeah. That was pretty good.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one was like, okay. It wasn't his best by far at all, but maybe it was just the queer in me, like kind of like relating and understanding and feeling a deep empathy for what these gay men were going through, and how the true monster of HIV and AIDS. So I think maybe that's where I could see the real life horror of what it did to the community.
Sure.
Yeah, that almost didn't need to be like an American Horror Story. Like he could have taken that outside of it and told like a real story. And I also think they did a good job of reminding especially young people who don't have the same threat of AIDS that like I grew up with, like the role that like lesbians played in, and the role that like politics and like the political activism that sprung up around AIDS and the HIV AIDS epidemic. So I actually really liked that season as well, but it almost felt like it had nothing to do with the the canon of the rest of it, right?
There was no horror.
It come a long way from a horror house. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there going to be more seasons, or is it kind of wrapped?
It's nothing slated for this year. They just came out, so nothing's going to happen this year for the 13th season, is the rumor. But again, I mean, it's September basically, and we haven't seen any or heard anything. So yeah, both. There was a story recently. Some reporter asked somebody at Hulu, Fox, or whatever, and they're like, no, neither of them are on the docket for this year. So
wow,
yeah.
Did you all like the American Horror Story ones, the individual stories?
They were fun. Yeah, I didn't watch the last season yet, but I did enjoy them.
The last season wasn't as good, but
I enjoyed them. I think it was like I was like, okay, this is a fresh take. Well, it's weird. This is fresh, but it's fresh in that it reminds me of the early seasons.
Yes.
Like I feel like the strongest season of American Horror Story is still Murder House, because he wrote Murder House as one complete thought, and then like and then like in, I think it may have been with Coven, actually it might have started with Asylum immediately after that, is that then he started writing, like he would film the first half and then the mid-season break, and then they would go and do the next. And he definitely like did that with Coven, and had like ended up having like Stevie Nicks on in the second half. So you kind of lose the thread a little bit, and I just wish that he would just commit to doing that again, and having a complete thought up front and not have it be influenced by outside forces.
Yes.
Because that's what made Murder House like so at that
So
point
good.
I'd never seen anything like that on like cable TV.
Yeah.
And then for me it goes down a little bit with Asylum, because like Asylum's not my favorite one. It also is like a really deep-seated fear to be
Asylum's very real.
like these are things that actually happen.
Yeah.
Actually happen to people. But like it's just that's what I loved about the stories aspect, is that like, oh, this is what like the reboot of Twilight Zone wanted to do. And you're actually successful at doing it right now, because it's a complete thought in 45 minutes to an hour, and then we're done.
Yeah.
How close to reality do you like your guys' horror to be?
That's
like
actually the
grazing, or
that's a theme that we're exploring right now on our show. The last few episodes is looking at horror based on true event, inspired by true events versus based on true events, actual events, these sorts of words that we use, and like, what are the ethics of that? Is that something we like, or do we appreciate more seeing something through a lens, right? Because there are problems when horror purports to be real, because unfortunately a lot of people cannot discern between what is reality and like, and so I was actually listening to something earlier today about true crime, a criminologist talking about the true crime obsession, and how people now go into juries and they have this expectation of like, there's going to be fibers and DNA is going to be this and there's going to be that, and like there's going to be these things that are not actually usually that obvious in criminal cases. And so with horror, we have people who think, schizophrenia looks like Psycho, or they think, DID looks like Split, or, or they think other, these sorts of things, and that's a real problem for like the state of things. So I don't know. I mean, I like the relationship. That's obviously what our show is mostly about, is the relationship between real life and horror, a collective unconscious, cultural anxiety, why we make horror when life is horrifying.
How do you watch horror when life is horrifying? Like, that is,
or why do you turn to it, right? Some of us, like, that's our anxiety, right? Some of us like can control our anxiety in that setting, right? Some people like to ride a roller coaster or jump out of a plane or bungee jump because that gets them that adrenaline. We have we like to feel that feeling of being close. So horror is one of those spaces for some anxious people to have a healthy experience of that ends and is controlled.
One of my and like the central premise of Fright School, right, is that like Joshua has been teaching me for the last 8 years. I just can't seem to learn shit because he's still teaching me about horror for the last 8 years.
Just so much of it.
It's evolved. Like our show has evolved, obviously, because like as we get to a point where now I am in many respects also just as much of an expert than Joshua, at least in like people who talk to me. And I had a moment actually in 2020 when we were recording, we were doing the show remotely because of quarantine, that we watched the movie Quarantine.
God.
Which is based off of the Spanish film Wreck, and it's like found footage, and it's literally about like people getting quarantined in a building and there's something that's out there killing them.
Oh God. How was
And
that?
it was great, actually.
Oh,
It provided that catharsis. Like, it took a few months for me to get to a place where I could be okay watching something like that, but it was, I don't know if I said this on air, but, like, later on in reflecting it, 4 years later, that, like, it actually was a really great catharsis, because I have just been, like, I would be up till, like, 3 in the morning sometime, just, you know like, sniffing to see if I could smell things, because if I couldn't smell, then maybe I like, I caught the
you
COVID
had
or
it.
something.
Yeah, yeah.
Even though I, like, hadn't left my house literally in weeks, and still, like, how could we get, like, obsessed that I might, catch something and die? But then, like, watching Quarantine was just, like, I was like, "Oh, this is actually fun." And also because, like, honestly, they had it worse than I did, and I think it would be different if I watched something that was more true to real life, like Contagion, right? Like, people were
Yeah.
watching Contagion with that same kind of, like, it was almost as if they were watching it to get tips. And for me, I was like, "No, I'm watching Quarantine because I'm, like, on a similar ride, and I need to forget a minute of where we are."
Hmm. That's
And
exactly
so,
why I go to
yeah.
comedy. Like,
Yeah.
because I'm like, oh, ridiculous problems get ridiculous solutions, and that's
Right?
fine because
Yeah.
it's a little dreamlike in a way. That's so interesting.
Yeah,
Maria,
I mean, I love comedy too. That's the thing. Is like, I love comedy too, but, like, I feel that with horror specifically, horror and comedy, I've heard it's really all about the timing for both.
Yeah.
Like, the key to good horror and the key to good comedy is timing. That's why I think, like, Jordan Peele is so successful,
yes, yeah.
because he understands timing, and he understands just how much you need to edge somebody
Hmm.
before you can, like, take them over the edge, or when there is nothing and then bam, there's a jump scare. Like, that, all of that's really interesting, and why it was no surprise to me that Jordan Peele would become this, like, you know central figure
Prolific.
of
Mhm.
horror.
Yeah.
Now, Marie, I know that Nico is super into horror, and you're supportive. Are you as equally into horror as they are, or did you
No.
learn to like it?
I mean, I have what I like. I've said it over and over again. I am obsessed with zombie films and
Yes.
zombie movies and zombie shows,
Mhm.
um, and vampires are right behind that. Like anything undead, I'm really with.
Wow.
But
That
I think
explains
that's
our connection.
it just it's what speaks to me. And but Nico can watch like slashers and things like that. I think that's what, like, just to go back to the question of if we prefer real life, I think that's the thing is before um I was a true crime head. I wasn't really into slasher films. I wasn't even like nothing like that. Nothing too gory or bloody, no Jason, no Michael, nothing in my home. But I would really love true crime. But I've noticed that as I've got as especially after my dad died, there was a
Mhm.
thing that went off in me, and true crime I can't take anymore. And so
Mhm.
now even slasher films are even worse for me because while I don't believe that like some of these guys could really catch me if I'm running, as they're waltzing towards me, but other than that, like there is a reality that there are people right now who have got a knife and gone and slashed people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so the true
Yeah.
crime doesn't do it for me, and it makes the slasher films even worse for me. So
Mm.
I don't watch those. And it's funny because Nico doesn't like the 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 supernatural stuff as much either.
Mhm.
So, or definitely on opposite spectrums of that. But we still watch a lot more horror movies and scary movies than I ever did before.
That is, I think that's like a perfect. I think those are perfect watch combinations, because I have definitely met couples that it's exactly that. Like, I like things that are slashery, but I can't stand anything that's supernatural or really rooted in, like, magic and stuff. And so I've seen that as a great combination. It also fascinates me because my sister's the same way as your partner, Marie. Like, she can't handle things to deal with the devil or supernatural stuff.
Ooh.
And
I think it's
my
the
thing is
Catholic
this,
in them.
yeah,
My
very,
partner.
Yeah.
very, peace be with them is all I have
Yeah.
to say. but like I also think that's part of it too. And like, my mom's interesting. She's a retired forensic scientist, and
Ooh.
like,
What?
Yeah,
yeah,
super cool.
my mom, super cool. My mom's a retired forensic scientist, and so like she watches, like, if you think about primetime programming on CBS, like every version of NCIS, if you think about like all the Chicago shows, like they watch all, like my parents
Procedurals.
watch all procedurals. Yet like when I was like, Mom, you're like watching like Law and Order Special Victims Unit, where they like are like they're out there trying to catch like a serial killer that's killing sex workers, yet a clown that bites off like a child's hand is like, which is not gonna happen in real life,
Right?
is what
Yeah.
sends you over.
Yeah.
Oh.
I had to remind Nico because we fall asleep to Law and Order SVU, and I had to remind him like these are based off of real cases. Like
Yeah.
I
They literally
can't.
say that at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ripped from the headlines.
Ripped from the headlines.
rip.
Always ripped from the headlines.
What about you,
Oh.
Katie? What's your relationship to the genre?
I have never, the only time I will watch horror is usually with like a friend or something, or because
Like that group collective.
yeah, like a group
experience.
thing. Well, and
Yeah.
it's funny like that we were talking about the the photography store or whatever, but like I remember the first time I went to one of those, I remember we were doing like this like paint thing, like it was like a paint theme where there was like paint splatters everywhere and there was a ladder, and then they had this
Ooh.
paint bucket
Fun.
with like fake like dried paint, but it looked like it spilled out, so it was like on its side, sort of like a fake spilled coffee type of thing. And that was the only way that I would watch horror, is where I would try to break it down in my head, like, okay, how did they do that effect, how did they do that, or by making jokes about it. Like that's like the only way I could get through that kind of stuff. Yeah, horror always scared the crap out of me. And like it just got too intense that I would just be like, I gotta go. I gotta, like, it would be the only thing that I would walk out of. But I've been, I don't know. I honestly could not tell you the last horror thing I've watched other than 2020 itself. But
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
Other than the daily horrors that unfold before our eyes.
There we go.
Yes.
Yeah, you're a woman
More
in America. Why ask for
Why,
more?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like that was a big part of it, where it's just like, like even like I do remember I got into Serial, I got into the podcast. Audio was better for me because the visuals I think were a little too real, but
I'm listening to their latest season now about Guantanamo Bay. Oh my gosh, so good. But anyways, go ahead.
So good.
I dropped off after Adnan for the first season. Like it was like
I didn't like the second, the Bo whatever, the deserter thing. I stopped listening to that because sorry, I don't care. But I did come back on for the courthouse thing. That was really cool. S-Town was great, and then this new Guantanamo Bay thing, because they're interviewing like ex-prisoners and guards, and it's pretty cool. But sorry, go back. Serial, season 1, Adnan, Syed.
Syed, and and then I stopped. But I understand it is my people's culture of white women to watch profuse amounts of crime, mystery, and things like that. I like a good procedural. I agree. Like I'm not a SVU type person. I'm more like I like something with an actual story. So Bosch has been the thing that we have been binging lately. Hadn't seen it before. Yeah, no, and we just started Legacy, and I actually did earlier this week a casting director workshop, which for actors in Hollywood is a thing where we pay to hang out with some casting directors and just pick their brain. It's great. It's definitely not illegal, but I did the casting director workshop with the woman who cast for Bosch, and we're talking about like the different things that she has to do to like find real life looking people and like make sure that like they are grounded and rooted in humanity and not weirdos off the street type of thing. Yeah, and that was cool for me just to be like, oh, okay. So it was sort of more of like an interview type of thing, really. But yeah, I don't know. I like a story, and Bosch was a good one.
Very cool. I have to look that up. I haven't seen that.
Amazon Prime.
Katie,
Yeah.
I have an improv question for you.
Oh, hit me with it.
So, I have a friend
Okay.
who is never going to watch this. So I will, but I still will not name them because what on the off chance that they actually listen
Scroll
to the
through.
things I post. Yeah.
Sure.
So I have a friend who last year completed like, his like all the levels he could complete at our local improv, house
Cool.
of school of worship. And
yes, exactly.
and then he's doing that thing where he's like inviting people to come, and I went to his like graduation show. It was fun. I could see why he likes it because he's good, but he's also generous, right? Because there are people who are hogging, like, and especially when you're learning, like you're hogging and you're not being generous.
Stage time,
yeah, exactly. So he's really generous. However, it's not getting better. How
long does it take?
No. How do you, as someone
This
who
is
has
delightful.
probably
I can't wait to
invited,
talk about this off the air.
as somebody who like does improv and invite, is open invitations all the time to your shows, right? How do you receive, or what's a good way to like say, hey, I'm actually not going to come to your shows anymore, but not because you're bad, it's just because I literally can't go to improv.
Go to everything. No, yeah. and that's, I mean, honestly, just be honest to that respect, where it's like, I don't have the time or the resources to do that. Anybody getting into improv should know that like it is not fun for a lot of audiences. And until you get to the point where you're starting to play on like a higher intelligence level and you're starting to play so that like the audience has fun and you're not doing it so that people come see you specifically, like to see a group perform, because the one thing about improv that I think a lot of people miss out on is unless you're working actually in collaboration and everybody's kind of got their piece and everybody's doing their part on different scenes, it's hard to watch. And there's a huge difference between short form improv and long form improv. And I personally, at least in this decade of my life, am huge into long form because it tells stories and then it brings stuff back and then you get to see certain threads play out. Short form is like, honestly, like, and I did short form for almost a decade straight with one group, and we did well. Like it was kind of wild that we did, but it feels like warm-up games, and like it's just like that's going for the joke. Whereas in long form, you have the ability to kind of write out a scene and like find out where the weird stuff comes in, or have something very grounded and real. And I love that aspect, because you could have a scene that like changes your perspective on something just by two improvisers speaking at the top of their intelligence can do. And so my advice to you is just say, I'm so sorry. I don't have the time or resources. I appreciate invite me in like a year. Let me, like I will say there. More recently, I have been more vocal and more promotional about my team because I like what we're doing and it feels like something that other people will enjoy. And the hardest thing to do is to promote a show that you don't believe in.
Yeah.
I mean, like, think about it in terms of podcasts. Like, hey guys, come watch me do a podcast. Like, it's sometimes it's hard to like get that like interest, or like, maybe people won't understand or care about what you're talking about. And that can be a touch and go type of situation. So it is easier when you enjoy the people that you're working with or like the work that you're doing, as opposed to I don't know, just shooting the shit and trying to make people
Yeah.
hear a bad joke,
Yeah, there was like in the graduation show, the thing that made me laugh so hard was like this guy who committed to a bit. Like he was committing. So it was the joke was that about the word triplet.
Okay.
And the way that the scene partners were understanding the word was triplet, like, you know, 3 people that look identical, like, you know, identical triplets.
Yeah.
He took it as the musical term, meaning like triplet,
Right.
no, like a note.
And also, like, I guess the way the word is pronounced as well. On top
Exactly. And he just like he leaned in so hard, and he looked, and I hate to say this, he looked like what people think of me, which is like, oh, this is a fucking know-it-all dude who is like thinks he's the smartest one in the room. Like, because he was like, don't you all see how this is funny? What I'm doing is actually really hilarious.
Oh, he explained the joke?
No, he didn't, but like you could tell in his eyes that that's what was happening. And it was just so funny because like it was the graduation course, and I like, you know, I love comedy. I love good improv comedy.
Yeah.
And so it was like every archetype of like a beginning improv person was in this.
Yeah.
Like,
you're gonna
this
get that.
person.
No, you don't.
Oh,
You do not,
Like,
Joshua.
10
because
people came into my head that you.
Well, no, here's the thing, because Joshua, like, I am very careful because I don't want to bring I don't want to bring people who are going to, you know, oh, well,
Count Connor. I think that is our good friend Count Eric Cotter from the Marvel Movie Talks podcast. But yeah, the punch is that you get to punch your own face, and the pie is that we're all sweetie pies. So there you go.
I feel like Joe's story was going in a way that like I'm clearly not a sweetie pie. That's what I feel
No,
like
it was
happening.
like I don't like
I don't want
I'm
to
not
bring
gonna
my friends
you-
around you because they'll be in danger.
Well, no, they're not going to be in danger. I would be in danger for bringing annoying people around you in your home. Like, that's where I'm coming from it. Like, I'm very careful. Joshua is the delightful misandrist. So I'm very careful when I bring gay men around.
This is true. Yeah. Sometimes there's so many of us are just so beige. And it's just like, you know, come on. Like, we're gonna die. I don't want to spend a couple hours with this person.
The delightful misandrist is my new favorite thing.
I know.
Say,
it's so much better than Muir.
Joshua is like, well, you know, like I always say like, oh, I've been listening to a great song, and then I'm like, but you're not gonna like it because it's by a man. You're not gonna like it because it's by a man.
It is a very specific, you know.
Oh.
True, yes.
Yeah, I don't like most men either, so I relate.
Our PR is bad. It's really
you don't have
Well, like, this is like I've been saying, and I think I've been saying this for most of this year. Like, this is the reason why, like, I know in my heart that like sexuality is not a choice, because if we could choose, why would we choose men? Like, you know, I say that as also a man. Like,
I know,
yeah,
I say it all the time.
seriously.
Like, straight women are the only proof I need that sexuality is not a choice. Like, that's the real proof.
You're
Straight
welcome.
women exist.
I can't, listen, I didn't know that this was my job in life, but, I'm glad to be representative. But I totally understand.
Do you just want to go, why?
No, I don't.
Have you tried being a lesbian? No.
Well, that's like legitimately, and Maria and I have talked about this like for so long, but there's been so much of my like life that people have just assumed that I am also a lesbian, and I get why, I really do, but it's also like I have no interest. Like it was so funny because during the time when like everybody was like getting drunk and making out in college or whatever, like I remember a friend like leaned in to like kiss me at one point, and I was drunk too, and I was just like, oh no, thank you. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no. I didn't mean to you yucky it.
No,
Oh.
I'm fucking with you. It's just that's like my favorite response.
You're not wrong, Eric. JD Vance alone has brought the stock of men way down.
Yeah, just don't
Yeah.
know. My favorite thing, that video where he's just like, I'm running for vice president. Okay. Don't put me on film.
Yeah, don't put me on film. What do you
It's like the
want?
best. Oh, so delightful. I'm just like,
Who
oh,
hasn't
man.
had that interaction at a donut shop though? Like, just
I
tell me what
haven't.
you want. Just tell me
Right.
what you want and get out of here.
Get out.
Yeah.
No one cares.
Well, I'm gonna stick to just that was just for him because it delights me. Okay.
Someone made the best joke that it's like missed opportunity for JD Vance's drag queen name should have been Ashley Furniture.
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
My husband told me that, and I cried laughing, and I was like, I'm so mad that joke was right there the whole time. It was like, it's one of those jokes that I'm jealous I didn't think of it. Don't know who to credit, so forgive me on that.
Speaking of drag names, I heard the best drag name recently. It was our accountant at work. They have been taking like an Excel course, like they've been doing some like professional development and getting like a huge certification in Excel, and they came up with Roseanne columns.
Yeah.
I can't with this. Oh my God.
Sounds like an accountant's drag name.
Come on, Roseanne columns.
Please
That's
welcome
really
to the
good.
stage, Roseanne Collins.
Now, Marie, you also do really great drag shows. Did you ever have a name?
Yeah, I go by Ms. Laveau.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Which is a reference to
Yeah.
her story. Yeah.
Marie Laveau was a real person as well. So
True.
yeah.
Went to her house.
Speaking of, true.
Yeah. So, and
So
I figured my family practice voodoo, a lot of them, so it fits. I don't practice voodoo, but I just want to be clear. I've seen too many dead chickens.
Have you really? How intense does it get?
I mean, I don't know a lot because it was like kept from us. I have markings on me that my mom will swear are not voodoo markings, but every woman in my family has them, and I have them as well. So it's kind of funny because I think somebody did sneak me away and do some voodoo on me, but a lot of times it was like locked away in a room. And I remember one time I was at my second cousin's and I saw a chicken go into the room and never come out, things like that. But it was there's the kind that's mixed with Catholicism as well, so they're all very devout Catholics as well. So I think I saw a lot more of that part of it. It's just the stopping at every Catholic church in the block, just to go to do a prayer real quick and then go home and practice some video.
I'm fascinated by those intersections, like the snake handling. Like my grandmother grew up in one of those kinds of churches, like with the serpents, and like I think that's so fascinating.
Wait, what is the deal with the snakes?
You've never heard of like the snake handlers, like where they take up the snakes and they dance with them and stuff, and they're poisonous. And so the idea is like, if they bite you, that's God's will. If you live, that's God's will. If you die, that's God's will. It's this. It's like Mark whatever, but it's like
Twain.
Yep. Sorry, in the Bible.
Sorry.
Gotcha. So I'm only in passing familiarity with him. But there's like one thing in the Bible that talks about like you can drink poison and not die. You can take up serpents. So this like kind of faith was built on this and like Appalachia and such. But again, it may even come from there's so many intersections of like African traditions and then like the Baptists and these evangelical things that kind of get all blended up, throughout Appalachia in the South that are just super fascinating. I've now had a few of these, so I like nobody quote me on like too much of this right now, but there's some really great books you can read, and I've always been fascinated by those intersections, especially when you go back. Like I think of oh my God, that's so academic bullshit. But like Angela Davis, like Women, Race, and Class, and like kind of looking at these ways, these intersections of like white people living in poverty and enslaved people, and the ways that traditions got kind of blended and different faiths and different spiritual practices that go into now so fascinate me. And like voodoo and Catholicism, it's just, or like we talked about with Borderland last week or a couple weeks ago, the film, like Santeria and Paulo, what was it? Shoot, the word left me. But anyways, these different faiths, from Mexico and from Africa, and with like hints of Catholicism and saints and Santa Muerte and things like that. It's just super fascinating.
Paulo Mayombe.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to sit have a whole conversation, Marie, sometime about.
Hell yeah.
Because I love these these intersections are really, really fascinating.
Everything's intersectional.
Yeah. There we go, Kimberly Crenshaw. We got her to the.
Hold on, JD Vance is coming on because he heard sectional. So
Joe, I love you so much. This is like a real happy hour. Like, let's just have some drinks. And now, of course, we're into some deep, weird territory that people watching this are like, what? What are these? What? But you're gonna look it up and you're gonna be like, oh no, they're not crazy. Yeah.
No, I'm fascinated by this because I mean I grew up Presbyterian, so Frozen Chosen, like none of that exploratory type stuff. Like Harry Potter was like the closest thing to any kind of actual.
And they probably got banned.
Yeah.
Can I tell you
that Jesus Camp documentary? Oh, so good. Go ahead, sorry, Joe.
Katie, when I was in high school, one of my classmates who at the time swore he was not gay, said that he was really proud that he grew up Presbyterian because the word Presbyterians is an anagram for Britney Spears. Yeah.
They taught us that at every camp. Like, I don't know why, like that was like the claim to fame. It was like Presbyterians, you don't clap for like performances in church. Like it's a very, at least my church didn't, like it was a very reserved sort of like keep your, which is hilarious because there was many of an episode where my mother, unfortunately, she has passed, but she was bipolar and would often be in a manic episode at church and would bring in like because she would go to Baptist churches and like a little bit more expressive churches, and she would try and bring that into the back of the church. Never worked out. Lots of weird incidences, but yeah,
I love the charismatics. Amazing. Like just that what you're talking about, bringing that in. It's it's just like there's
your
something.
Whole self.
Yeah, sorry, just I know we're like going way over, but there's a really great podcast. It's called Alabama Astronaut, and this guy went to all these different snake handling churches, which are like the evangelical charismatics kind of things, and he's like tracking the music that they make because they made this incredible like rockabilly music that's just amazing to listen to. All these songs that were never really like documented and recorded. We have some field recordings from like the 30s and 40s and whatnot. But he went to like really document their music. And it's just, I don't know, there is something like these people don't care at all about like what you think of them. And there's something really beautiful in it. And as much as like, you know, I'm an atheist in the way that I feel about, you know, God and these sorts of things, and especially as a queer person, you know, sorry, the damage I feel, there's something really beautiful listening to that. And just this thing of like, you know, hey man, you do you want to believe, you don't want to believe, whatever, fine. We're here praising God, and we're stomping the place down and singing at the top of our lungs and playing instruments that maybe we don't know too well, you know, or maybe we don't sing too well. It doesn't matter. There's just this like beauty to it. So I don't know. I would have liked to have seen your, I don't know.
My
maybe
mom,
this is
my
like
mom
messed up,
performing.
bringing this energy to, you know, because I went to some boring churches. Nobody spoke in tongues.
No, and my mom brought me to a church at one point where they did speak in tongues, and I was so culture shocked. I was like, did not know, and especially like when I'd only really seen it through my mom through manic episodes, it was like I was like, oh, this is a version of religion that is pure mania. And I just feel like my exposure to it wasn't quite like softballed in. I feel like it's like, imagine the worst horror movie that you could think of, Joshua, and then Joe, like before you watched even any of the Fright School movies, going straight into that. Like it was like that level was a little too high for me at that point in my age.
Yeah, I only saw it a few times growing because we went to a few different churches, but the ones that we went to like on a weekly basis, so you know, I didn't see that too often. But I don't know. That's probably just also the psychologist, like therapist, like fascinating. Like this. Is
I like, and that's
a kind of life.
that was always my interest too, where it was just like I liked understanding that I was scared at that point, but then having a reflection and just being like, ooh, but like what was it that really connected those two pieces? So that's my therapist talking to you.
I love it.
Is there anything coming up that you guys are excited about that coming up in the next week or anything?
Well, Beetlejuice dropped, which do we have a license with them? Because everybody fucking else does. Where's our license? You know, Denny's is promoting to me, Fanta, every company on the fucking planet has a Beetlejuice license. I'm like, what is going on? Where's the Geekscape Beetlejuice collection? We got to figure this out.
Maybe we figure out who the PR person is and we get some kind of actual Beetlejuice for our next happy hour.
Yes.
That's what we do. So I was not excited about the film because I still kind of am in camp. We didn't need a sequel. It's fine on its own. The cartoon series is delightful, and I did enjoy that as a kid. That was enough. But some of the early reviews have been pretty good. They haven't totally been bashing it, so that's exciting. I hear Catherine O'Hara steals the show, which is what I expected.
Yeah.
Delia is delightful, especially as I get older and realize I'm her and not Lydia, like I thought. So I am excited. We're going to go coming up soon, Wednesday. I think next Wednesday, the 3rd.
Okay.
Is the pre-show thing. So I'm excited about that. Or the 4th, whatever it is whatever. Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
Are you coming with us? I have no idea. Because it's packed now. So the seats we bought, I knew who was buying them, but now they're all filled up. So I have no idea.
I'm not able to come with you.
Okay, well, whatever. All right, Fright School's over. No.
The gay event that I'm going to in Vegas, they did have a like side excursion for people to watch Beetlejuice. But the last thing I want to do is what? Yeah, exactly.
Amazing.
I don't want my worlds to collide like that. So I will go and watch it at the same time, but in a different theater, probably.
Yeah, because they're just all going to be giving each other handies anyway, so it's not going to matter.
Oh, all right. Fine.
Allegedly, I assume.
What do you all have coming up in the next week?
Yeah.
Marie, what do you got?
Just work and taking time off. So it's nice to have one
Good.
day off. And
Yeah.
further organizing my home. So that'll be nice.
This beautiful palatial home that you have. I love this piano. What will you go back there and tinkle the ivories?
Yes.
No, that's wonderful.
Yeah. I don't have a whole if you're in Los Angeles at the moment and you want to see something over Labor Day weekend, I highly recommend going to the Pack Fest. It's a big comedy festival. They've got panels. They've got comedy shows, stand-up, improv, sketch, all sorts of things. Should be fun. Film stuff, and a big hello and goodbye to Mr. Eric Connor. Thank you so much for joining us. We will drink irresponsibly as much as we can. None of us are driving because luckily we're all in different areas. But yeah, no, and then after that next week, so that would be September 4th. Haha, yes. If you're not seeing Beetlejuice, come see me with my team Faux Pas. But yeah. That's pretty much all I got.
I love that.
Marie, do you want to give any piece of advice? I mean, I know this is not a Napping Through Happy Hour official, but we're gonna use it as an actual show. So,
is that what you? Is that a segment that you have?
Yeah, we kind of like either give random pieces of advice at the end of it, or just silly quotes or something like that. So.
Kind of like the barfly that you meet in every bar who's just like, let me tell you something, kid. You know what you don't want to do?
Ooh, go with that and keep going, Joshua, if you'd like. No? Okay.
I don't know. I was just like,
Marie.
If we were together, we could all like make out really sloppily, like Kate McKinnon on SNL. I love those. Those are like the best. You know, just drinking, just you know what?
I will never get over Kate McKinnon in the sketch where they're talking about being abducted by aliens. Just gold.
It's pretty great.
But Marie, any advice you'd like to leave our audience with? Oh, you are muted, my dear. You.
Okay, sorry.
You know what? You want to like turn your mic on so people can hear this wisdom.
Well, it's very practical knowledge. So I had a pair of brand new black jeans, like dark black jeans.
Okay.
And I washed them. And I didn't turn them inside out, and I put them in the dryer, and so now they are faded black jeans. Don't do that. I'm so sad because they were like the perfect black, you know, that just dark. Oh, so cute. Now they've like got white cast on them, and just so don't do what I've done. I'm gonna hand wash all my black jeans from now on, or something. I don't know. I'm gonna re-dye these once as well.
There's like a color catcher like thing that you can put in the dryer that might help with that. But were they expensive jeans?
No, but I just absolutely love them. They fit perfect. It's hard for me to find jeans that fit perfectly and that just look good. They were magic, and I wore them for work. And now they are like useless to me. I'll still wear them, but just they're not work. They don't feel work appropriate now because they're just so like old looking. Yeah.
Oh man, bummer.
Yeah.
I feel that pain because I somebody who wears a lot of black. I almost all my black clothes.
Never would have guessed.
Right, get washed. Usually, I put vinegar in as well. I hear that helps with the color.
I hear that.
Okay.
And they all air dry, like all my pants, things like that.
Should have
air
done
dry
that.
because the dryer just messes them up.
Yeah,
and everything in cold too. You know.
Yeah.
So that helps
learn the hard way.
But I feel for you. Rest in peace.
Could you re-dye them?
So many good.
I'm gonna re-dye them.
I do that a lot. Yeah, red is great. Yeah,
I'm going to.
I do a lot of that. Yeah. I wish I had some fun advice to give, but I don't.
You can just come up with it on the spot if you want. Joe, do you have anything that you'd like to leave the audience with?
First of all, Joshua's a fucking therapist. You don't have advice.
We don't give advice. I don't advise people. I help them figure out that they have the answers to the problems in their life. I'm just helping them unveil them.
Yeah, but we're also not paying you, so
yeah, exactly.
Right, and you're not paying me, Joe.
There are other ways in which you pay. I've paid for 8 years. I have paid.
This is true.
Let me see what here. It's not advice, but like this is, you know, hey, you out there, dear watcher of this, if you've been waiting for a sign, this is the sign. Your sign is now.
Ooh, that's really good.
Do it. Whatever it is, do it. Don't do it. If you were waiting for a sign, this is your sign. And not in like a, you know, not in like a here's your sign. Like this is a sign.
I like
Do
how your
it.
hand's kind of blurry when you do that.
I know.
It's,
Oh,
I
it
know.
feels
It-
like you're holding the answer.
Yeah.
Oh man, so Presbyterian of you.
Yes. Britney Spears, come down.
Yes. Awesome. Well, for those who know me, probably already know what I'm about to say, but you guys, the universe is chaos, so please be kind to one another. Thank you so much for those of you who were sticking around on the actual live stream, and thank you for those who are listening to the podcast at the moment. But we appreciate all the support, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.